Hey everybody, it's me, Beefone11, and I'm Son of Beast. But the biggest replacement here, as we noticed it before, it's another game of the night. This matchup, as we spotted things on, it's going to be one of the big meetings between the tight teams from Edmonton and Montreal. The next game is the Oilers, as they now face Nick Suzuki, the captain of the Montreal Canadiens. The big team doesn't really stand up to choice. We haven't seen this big matchup. The last time they played against the Maple Leafs, they lost that game against the Maple Leafs. It wasn't a great start afterwards from a couple seasons ago that made this rival intense. But this time, they just need to find a way to get this one a good goal effort to try to keep things from rolling. From east to west, doesn't really stand the pace here. What does it take now to reunite? There might be only one that might change it all. And for my next part of the goaltenders of the starting group, we have is Connor Pickard for the Edmonton Oilers, and for Montreal Canadiens, for the Habs, is Sam Montembeault. Let's start things off for the Edmonton Oilers. For Connor McDavid, as we are expecting to have some appreciation with this, he gets his own wheels with the illy edges. The ankle breaking has a speedy and elusive deeps. With Leon Draisaitl, he makes a quick release, and with the backhand beauty, only take the tape, only ever feeds. Evan Bouchard with only rocket and 1T. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with a tape to tape and a quick pick. Matthias Ekholm with the warrior and quick pick and stick him up with the precise poke check. Zach Hyman with the big tipper and no contest zone. Then it's Jake Wallman from the wheels and the rocket for a replacement from Jeff Skinner. Then it's Darnell Nurse with True Lensless and a warrior again. And it's Jack Glosovich. Only the tape to tape makes it only with the hugest overtime win. That might be only one thing to watch and keep an eye on. Now let's send over to Montreal Canadiens, as of Nick Suzuki gets the tape to tape and his own decisive powerness, and the captain for the Habs. Quick pick and no contest. Then Cole Caulfield with 1T and pressure. Noah Dobson with the illy edges and the tape to tape turns. Blaine Hudson with just only the illy edges and the send it pass and tape to tape. Michael Matheson only does the same thing, but just a second wind. Ivan Demidov is the new replacement and as the recruiter for the Canadiens with only the quick release and the ankle breaker. Then it's Patrick Laine with only 1T and pressure T. Then it's Jarov Sokovsky with only quick release and unstoppable. Then it's Philip Denault, replacement for the Los Angeles Kings with the quick draw and quick pick. And then it's Brandon Gulliver with only spark plug on his speed boosting. And last but not least is Arbor Ekjakai. He also names it the X as the Jackai, and it's the pirate name for the last initial. Illy Edges and True Lensless. So that's it for the lineups. It's time to get fancy as we send down to Century Bell. My next commentating partners, welcome in is Zoe Troop. He's also along with John Redrick, and Union Jackie is the center ice for tonight's game. We'll be seeing you later here for the intermission and the post-game show. Get ready to battle. Oilers and the Habs are next. Be back with you soon for the first intermission. Enjoy the game. Montreal night, and here at Canadian Century for our biggest of the matchup. I'm Zoe Troop, and I'm here with my John Redrick, and Union Jackie is in for the center ice. The big matchup is between the East and the West. McDavid against Suzuki. Puck is dropped and we are underway. Ready to start things off is on the line. As the starting goaltender, he starts in for the Montreal Habs. We have the Sam Montembeault. And for the Edmonton Oilers is Connor Pickard. A start will push it in for Zach Hyman. He'll start things on his own. And now as the Habs are back in the offense to defense territory. That shot steps, saved by Montembeault. Montembeault will start things here with the clearing puck range to have that one, denying the effort. And now this will be the puck shot ready to go. For the start of it, as we noticing for the first period, as you're noticing about Connor McDavid, the dangerous man and attacker, as we talk things about how this happened with the last game against the win against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Last thing we don't really talk about it is how he was really been like obscure. Well, I mean, especially the Kerwin thing, and I was really just noticing, but what goes by for the Edmonton Oilers, as you notice that Connor McDavid is really like the highest on the marking. Never been effort when he really wanted to start keep moving it across and around, and when you're playing for defensive zone, this offense is really going to take a lot of huge credits. You're not really sure how they really are going to keep things up, but most likely I'm watching this on was one of Connor McDavid, and there's a lot of big, huge monster attackers here. We're watching Zach Hyman and a teammate of Leon Draisaitl, and of course Evan Bouchard with the big rocket blast. We're spending it on just doing a lot of great attacking motions. Gotta watch it and see it to believe it. This offense is really not going to be the best thing, and not your party trick tonight. Big stop here by Calvin Pickard, and now here's another take by Rosovich. Mangiapane has it over across. The rebound by Hobbs. It's now it's Rosovich again to Mangiapane. There's Evan Bouchard the other way now for Mangiapane, and stopped by Monteval. William Carrier has it now again to Matheson, and passes now over to Slafkovsky. Slafkovsky to pass over the wing. Now has it over now to Demonov. That's broken by Draisaitl. Kasperi Kapanen. Pass to middle to Kapomsin. On a shot, rebounds, and he scores. What a chance effort for Leon Draisaitl as they start with the 1-0 lead in Montreal. Now, this is no big play effort here. When you're spotting on for Leon Draisaitl, watch what happens to Kasperi Kapanen. And that goes with the save, and there was right in there. He was wide open. And watch what Monteval did. He was not watching it. And when he makes a quick release, that timing was way late. That happens with Draisaitl, and that first goal really made him took a hit. That one really gives it over, and that one is right in the middle. This quick release shot was given to Leon Draisaitl, a use of timing effort. No one is stopping him by, no one is giving a good look, but that's the first goal they start for the Edmonton Oilers. Philip Denault wins the faceoff as now Hudson will have it again to Carrier. As Carrier dips his own to Collier. Collier around the net. Now it's rebounded over by Hudson. Hudson lost that one. It's rebounded by Denault. And it's now Kasperi Kapanen for Montreal back on defense again to Draisaitl. That's his first goal in the game. He'll decide to look for 2 more against Montreal. Big save by Monteval. Back to Denault. Big pick here in the Hobbs territory. Dip the zone. Now here's Regula. A send over to Kasperi Kapanen for the Oilers. On dipping range in middle shot, trying to go for deflection into the net, and that stays out by the goaltender. Cole Caulfield with a big kick. And now here comes Ruben Hopkins. A pass to Colson back on ice. Poked it back to Jackson. Rebound by McDavid. Here's Regula on his head, on a shot. Huge stop by Monteval. Connor McDavid goes down. Rebound by Hudson. That Jack guy's got a big smile. What a save. That's going on. That's when it's his own rebound. He was really taking it off. That is really nice of the piece. There's no other way really trying to deny the effort. That is really what they were designing on here. That is a big hit. They're really racing it for speed. Jack guy goes down. Colson rebounds. Hopkins shot. He's saving the ball. And he'll freeze things here. A lot of big damage here between for the players. And they have been striking him down. Well, that's what happens with Jack guy. When you really, it's just nowhere to be seen. And this is where that hits takes in. He knocks him over on Connor McDavid. And this really is going to make a mess. That really has hit it off and just really have poked him. That's where Jack guy really may have just gotten a piece. For Jack guy was really spotted to make the worry happening, and he really has a tape advantage. What he also notices for it's a quick pick, and he might have something to do with if he really wants to give him some attentive offense. There's no control when you need to be doing it for, but you just need to make sure you have the right clearing chance. Has Kasperi Kapanen. Kicks it. Here's Emberson the other way for the Oilers. It's back to Slafkovsky. And now it's Jack guy. You'll have that range in, and now the new changeup as Jack guy's in the bench. And Michael Matheson. The deep pass zone to Kapanen. They'll bring their team into Oilers territory. Right around the net is Dobson. Noah Dobson now has it again to Matheson. Matheson finding Dobson. Here's Davidoff on a shot, and it gets blocked by Emerson. Rebound by Paul Stastny. Savoy couldn't get the puck back as now Matheson has it again to Dobson. Dobson, the no shot, saved by Ingram. That will be a start of tonight's goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers. He makes that second save. And now sending over into center ice is Union Jackie. Now place for on a start of Philip Deneau. Thanks, fellas. But Philip Deneau, he starts things up here with the greatness on the pucking range. This big effort really made straight things in. After from the transfer from Los Angeles Canadiens, he now has been trying to see how he can able to handle these things on. What we talk about it for now is that for Philip Deneau, he's ready to rake his next range to start things in with a new group and team. Without the Los Angeles Canadiens, and it's now over into for Artemi Panarin's replacement, he might show things with a new contracting range in there, and they might have to see how he can definitely hang things on. I'm watching on this one for Philip Deneau, and he might be able to have his own pickup responses. Let's see how he handles it. Over to you, Zotroop. Thanks, Union Jackie. Gallagher shot, gloved and snapped by Ingram. 9:34 remaining in the first period as we pass the midway mark in the first. Now let's go over to the other way. Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid is really one of his energizing and his monster strategy, and is the ultimate captain from the Edmonton Oilers. He is now playing against Nick Suzuki's team, and he's now watching it for his hugest save of the play. The biggest effort has now been taking some nice timing aggression, and he really wants to see how he is to handle it on. I'm watching on McDavid, and he might have to watch this now carefully if anything gets away. Guys, over to you. What a nice little save as Sam Montalban. You see a diving play? Watch how he does. That gets right from the pad. What a huge save. That's where you cannot stop on Sam Montalban. Fans are liking it. Sam Montalban is making a wildest save, and he's trying to look for an answer to stay out of the zone for their team. Evans on a block shot. And now here's Valeno. Valeno combos in the body is stopped by Ingram. And William Carrier again to Evans. Montreal on the attack. Here's Valeno's shot. Huge save by Ingram. Full range coming on for the Montreal Cops with under 8:40 remaining in the first period. 93 over 70%. I mean, fastest effectiveness. Nick Suzuki battling against McDavid. For the puck drop, Suzuki wins. Chaka now races the goal. Goal. Shot for Teixeira. Stop. Save made by Ingram. 8:19 remaining in the first period as they're trying to have that first goal come back in. Never been saying it before. A study of researching for in between Suzuki and McDavid. We know why this best save goes with this Suzuki, and the other side of it for Connor McDavid. He's now been like sharing things out to give it a little different respect out of it as he wants to bank it. Well, I just have to say across for now. I mean, when you're seeing things from Alexander Texier and then William Texier, there's one way about Nick Suzuki that he's really like sharing things off. The big battle impacting, and when you really are onto it, the study of it shows that Suzuki really has a lot higher strategy for this captain from the Montreal Hubs. The one thing we do say about it is now, Suzuki has really making it look easy pickup plays, and Henry, he's watching it to have replacement from Connor McDavid. He really may not be the better way to have the face-off wins, but this attack may show things where he gets to. Nick Suzuki finds it over to goal. We'll pass down, finding it over to Suzuki. Here's a clear range shot, another save by Ingram. 7 minutes remaining in the first period, and he now has it to Akjaka. Caulfield now finding the goal. Goal. Akjaka shot, stopped again by Ingram. Texier gets to Caulfield. Here's Ray. Goal shoot, save by Ingram. Brozovic will now has it over to Howard. And now the Oilers will have a new change up here and the Hounds for the new line group change. Big save by Montalban. Inbounding. Puck is carried out. And that one deflects it right near to the goaltender. And goal has now taken to Sikorsky. New change-up group for the Hobbs. Sikorsky gives to Kapanen. That's to Dobson. Now finds it over to Demidov. Demidov. Kapanen went down. Rebound by Nurse. now sends it over to Regula, and he will head it over to Leon Draisaitl. Here's McDavid. Back on ice, and it's now gloved up by Montalban. Just the first 5 minutes remaining in the first period, coming down into the end. He'll have the next group of the face-off ready to go. Phil Denault and Kurt Lazar up for the face-off. Lazar wins the face-off, and a stop made by Montalban. Matheson right around the net. And here's Guller. Gets over to Dobson. And now the Habs will get over into the Edmonton territory. Oh, he's broken it up. And now Dobson with the rebound. He will now have it to Matheson. You see that pass is not really turning to be exciting afterwards. He was really like losing it. The confidence speed needs to be in the regrouping. They have to make sure that you need to get that puck in the zone. Otherwise, if you don't find the puck where it's going afterwards, if you don't see it, then you're missing it out. You don't want that to get out of the way. And make that zone, they have to stay back in before offside. Matheson back again to Denault. Denault pass to Matheson. Here's Dobson. Shot. Never stopped by Ingram. Anderson now has it again to Denault. Denault looking for a squeeze. He goes down. Matheson shoots. He scores! Their first goal is Michael Matheson. They now carried it and tied it for one. You see this change up that happens with this, but when Phil Denault went down, that rebound goes up to Matheson. That clearly ranges in zone, and this is a quick fire puck range. With his fouls up, he was nowhere to be seen, and that one is really right into the net. That's that first goal, but you don't see it here. Now that first goal is on Dobson, past Matheson, and that zips right by him. Hobbs ties this up for one near the end of the first period. Evans wins the faceoff, and here's Carrier the other way. Montreal is tied up for one. And now Evans. He has it to Hudson. Orlando shoots one, and it's off of Bulldog. Zach Bulldog finding off to Hudson. Hudson gets off to Carrier, and he'll swing it over to Evans. Evans looks back to Hudson. Keeps moving again by Evans, and he now finds Carrier. Backhander is a steal, and it's now back to Richard Hawkins. Here comes Connor McDavid again to Hyman. Big hit. Rebound by Evans, and he now finds Carrier. Deep off to Bulldog. Bulldog in the zone. Nugent Hopkins carries it away. Edmonton racing for the extra tackle on. Looks for Hyman. That's 62. In Mulder, back to Evans, and now it's William Texier.
Assisted by Philip Denault and Josh Anderson.
Texier right around the net. 20 minutes in the first period. It's now Evans. Gives that one away, not finding the goal. Goal happened again to Texier. Evans on a flat shot, another save by Ingram. Ty Emberson losing his puck control balance. And now it's Henrique. Edmonton swings and misses for Adam Henrique. He'll deep that zone. No icing. And it's now Paul Stastny. Again, now finding Roselbeck. Stastny. Back over now to Kapanen. Kapanen in range in. Stop by Montalban. 3.7 seconds in the first period, as now both teams are tied for one. Last dropping puck dropping faceoff will be between 2-2 by Edmonton or Montreal. And Suzuki wins, and that's going to end the first period. 1-1 is a score as the answer to a late response goes right to Matheson. We're all even. Be back for the second period after the break. Hey everybody, welcome to the first intermission for tonight's game of the night of Edmonton and Montreal. The action tracker shows things here of how they did with the first goal. The first one had started off clearly for Leon Draisaitl, and the other side of it had turned to be with the big turnover after this passing blockness right toward the range, and this did not start things often. Then it was the other side of it, as few minutes later for the end of the first period of the game, it was Michael Matheson that made this goal to have that in range. And as for the first period intermission, it goes like this. 16 over 14 shots on goal for Edmonton over Montreal. 14 over 12 hits for Edmonton. Then it was 89 over 81 for Edmonton. And it was 8 over 5 for the face-off wins as for Edmonton. They've been struggling enough. They're trying to attack increasement on its own next level. And now I will send it over to you, Son of Beast, to see what happened with Edmonton. What was happened with the first range after Leon Draisaitl? Well, there was a cut motion afterwards, and that happens with a good range. That head coach was really working it off. The prophecy is where that first goal really took in. Nothing's really clearly on the start, but no take-in would ever do the thing. But for those reasons, disregarding on that, I was spotting it clearly on for the Montreal Habs. They were really been snacked. They don't seem to care for it, but now you do see how they really been working it out. So as for the Habs, they've really found themselves with the first goal in the lead. I don't know how they just did, but that's really what they did for Edmonton. It looks like Draisaitl may have had it all. Now let's head over to you, MePhone 11, for Montreal. Well, Montreal is really the hardest improvement, and they're really in the Atlantic Division. In the top 3 after the off-season for the Winter Olympics, they may have just showed things careless of how that really got things in the way. And I wasn't really sure how they were battling it out, but really, nothing really sets things off, and what they don't see things is what happens with Montreal. They just really need to get Montembeault a huge save. This is big impact. No wasted mounting would ever do the thing without that. So you may have to say now is, how could they do this for the Edmonton and for the Habs if they keep going in? Well, I can't answer this. I mean, I think that Montreal might need to start waking up a little bit. I know it's a little bit start off at a tight in the first period, but they need to start moving around to give that a good effort. And that being said, that ends the first intermission. Let's go back to Century Bell. And we'll see you all later, folks, for the second intermission after the second period is over. Let's get back to work. Hey folks, welcome back as we're ready to get started for the second period at Century Bell. Puck is dropped and we are back with you here for the second period. For those of you who already missed it, we played for the first period and have it tied up. And now let's have it over to you, John. Let's see how that happens with the first period with the late response. Well, the first period we're responding, it was not really quite tied up in its range. And we are expecting where it's going to happen with that with Leon Draisaitl. Teammate has really been picking up the response. What some reason is that happens with Leon Draisaitl, that makes it with the harder chance inbound, and it didn't really seem to do everything. And most bigger afterwards, it really comes back into waiting it for so long, and now the finishing was kept him from getting closer. And then this, at the end of the first period, it was a tying game for a 1-1 between the Habs and the Oilers. Now they will have to see what they can definitely do for the lead. Nick Suzuki against McDavid, and that one is rebounded by the Suzuki. We'll now have it over to Matheson. Watching some play actions here, now finding Suzuki. Goes to Thompson. Thompson! Not have a chance here as Thompson will have it rebounded to Matheson. Caulfield shoots a deep, but another save by Ingram. Here's Zach Hyman, the other way for the Oilers, and now the Canadiens have it. Here comes Suzuki. Puck is out of here. Suzuki wanting to get back into it. Whoa, he slipped it from McDavid. He'll have to have his own help for the teammate. Thompson. Suzuki. Hexier. Shoots once blocked. And now it's over to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Oilers go back at offensive change-up zone. And it's back to Alexandre Texier. Here's Texier. The deep pass over to Matheson. And off to Kapanen. Kapanen shoots another save by Ingram. Here's for Matthias Ekholm. Now for the Oilers, he'll send it to McDavid. Here's Rosovic's shot, and it's taken away by Kapanen. Noah Dobson over again, now finding to Demidov. Hobbs looks over to Matheson. Matthias Ekholm takes over now, Evan Bouchard. He now sends right over to Andre Mangiapane. And cut motion here, trying to look for a shot. That one is strung up and jumped up across, and as a diving play goes to Montemor. 15:31 remaining of the second period, and they're ready to have his next puck drop. Darnell Nurse will watch on it, and it's basically one of his relentless hit and the Warrior pickup. He's not really like engaging in anything, but he has really been like able to slip this out into another one. What I gotta say about Phil Deneau, and what happens with the only just one timing is always just enough easier for Darnell Nurse. He's really having a lot of the hugest hit. The most confidential way to do this is really what they're gonna have to go back to. But he's really been making this hurt. It really helps us to try to maintain and balance this. But sometimes other players get knocked down, and Darnell Nurse has a relentless warrior to make that a huge aggressive. This attack motion is going to make it harder. Now Darnell Nurse will have that zone again to Pokoza. After a get by Hudson, he has it over back to William Carrier. Here's number 1 to Collier. Collier goes for deflection in the middle for Anderson. Back to Collier on the outside of it. They're going to reset again to goal. Pass to Phil Deneau. Here's that guy. Shots is off and blocked, and it's off and a blocker by Ingram. Puck holds in the other way for the Oilers. Tipped around the back, and a shot. Huge save by Montemor. Again the Bulldog. Sack Bulldog again. Now Collier. Collier shoots in another glove save by Ingram. And under 13 minutes remaining in the second period, you'll get it over ready for your next puck drop. There was no way how Goal would able to do for it. And this is a hit, and after this plugging with the shot, he just rans right forward. And now he wants to hit the heavy contest to have that one knock him down. There was no way he would really have that one slipping in the worst, and he really smacked it over across. Evans wins the faceoff, and now has it over to Goal. We'll find it over to Jacky. Goal. He shoots one, and it's glove catch by Ingram. 12:49 remaining in the second period, as they're ready to prepare for another puck drop. Still waiting for its victim. It is still a tie game. Evans wins the faceoff, and he now has it over to Goal. Goal past the Bulldog. Bulldog could not handle the zone, and it's now out of Henrique. Henrique spins around, now finds Darnell Nurse. Here comes Jack Krasovich. Swings and misses, rebounded, and it's stopped made again by Villano. Montreal's back on the attack. Banks around the pass. Here's Darnell Nurse in the back. It's over to Evans. Evans looks to Villano. Here's another one to Evans. Looks off the goal. Here's for Evans on the shot, and it's gloved again by Ingram. Howard again to Roslovich. Tries to go back to Evans. Roslovich on a shot. That one is off the glass, tipped high, and it now rolls into Jacky. That really is almost being clear as someone say. I mean, not anybody is good at it afterwards. I mean, you don't see it, you don't play it afterward. You just need to make sure you keep moving again. Otherwise, when you get pulled over behind, that's where Evans needs to be. They can't really lose that percentage if they wanted to have his own take to choose the offensive way to have that fix. That needs to be the right choice to have it all. Now here's Evans. Now he wants to have his own changeup, and it's Statsy takes over now to Draisaitl. Past the midway mark in the second period. Backhander, big save by Montemor. Howard, Texier takes it away. Now as Montreal finds it over to Mike Matheson, you'll have it right around the net. Here's over to Evans, and past to Texier. That gets knocked, and it's Howard right over again to Draisaitl. Drysdale. He's over to Hyman. Hyman gloved it by Montemor. Montemor's going to hang it on with only 9:01 remaining in the second period. Now this is where the hard thing gets right by it. Remember the Edmonton Oilers, they have lost in the game of the night against the Los Angeles Kings. And then this is where that lead comes in. And as for Montreal Canadiens, they lost against the Toronto Maple Leafs. We were not sure how they were surprised afterward, but this one was really not an easy way to have that range out. This has been my hardest motion afterwards, and as for Montreal, they are trying to work things off and make sure that they don't get pulled over. Now I can see that point, but now there's a penalty. That's going to be on Edmonton. Has Suzuki giving an extra manner attack. Under 8 minutes remaining, and here is Kapanen. Suzuki will now change it over to Carrier. Has it to Hudson. Hudson, pass over to Carrier. He wants to have it to Demino. Here's Hudson. A shot. Blocked by Ingram, and it's now Lazar with the constructor on the hold.
Edmonton, number 40, 2 minutes for holding.
Curtis Lazar was not really like keeping it off that well, but that is an obstructive holding, and he is just carried around from the waist. That is definitely where it comes in for the first penalty. And you don't want that. You don't want to make it like it's too hard and too difficult for the Edmonton Oilers, and now they're going to get their first power play. Hobbs starts their first power play in Oilers territory. They're ready to kick things up. Yeah, I love seeing the power play effort. I mean, they have to start winning this off. Otherwise, when this face-off gets ready, be extra careful out there. Try to watch and find a man opener if you're looking for a pass-off to have that first goal and a power play region. Right to the middle, and he'll not have the right choice as regular. Has it again, Buckholzen. 7 minutes remaining in second period. And this one's now back to Kapanen. Now has it over to Texier. That one is given away. As for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is trying to stop one. He will now find Dobson. Cut motion here. Here he comes! A stop by Ingram. Big rebound by the Oilers. And it's now Nugent-Hopkins the other way. Even deflecting that faster afterward. I mean, not really sure how he was able to keep that out of here. That is one of the biggest saves afterwards when you don't see it right for coming by. Texier. Again to Gollier. Now make new line group change here for the Montreal Hobbs. In quarter now finding the Caulfield. Back right ice is Demina. A shot never stopped by Ingram. And he clears that zone out. Curtis Lazar is about to be out. Hudson. A dish to Demina to Suzuki. Power play's over for the Canadiens. And now as Ekholm will have it out. Well, this is when you don't really see things. That Connor Ingram is really like making a hard drive. And what Suzuki may have done was he just did not have the right choice. This responding effort is going to make that crowd look harder to try to keep through it. Nothing is presentable, and you've really been like weaping it out. That's definitely what the hard part gets by. The ensemble force now has it over to Sikorsky again to Suzuki. Suzuki. On a shot, Wrister, and it's blocked off of the skater. And now here's another one to McDavid. Mangiapane sticked it off. Dobson the other way for the Hobbs. Matheson cross the zone to Suzuki. Suzuki, he shoots another save by Ingram. McDavid back over to Roslovich as Suzuki exits the rink. And now Collier the other way. Here's another one to Anderson. Anderson passes over to Matheson. It's broken up by McDavid. Roslovich says it deep. And now he's Matheson the other way for the Hobbs. Montreal getting back into work. And now Donald has it over to Collier, and he couldn't find it. Now as McDavid will have it sent it over to Mangiapane. Mangiapane. Cut motion in, shot stopped by Monteval. Here's another one to Phil Denault. 2:40 remaining in the second. Watching behind is Mangiapane. Here comes goal. Jacky. And Jacky will have to regroup here. Oh boy, this is a big attacker going on here the other way. I don't know what they're doing it for, but they have to watch them out. This careful range is not going to be easy enough, and Hobbs really need to fix this. They can't let it loose. Goal! In middle bounding! Denault shot stopped by Ingram. Here's goal. The other way. Pass to Jacky. Right to Valeno. Valeno moves in and scores! What a motion! As Valeno has now been retained for one. That's the first goal in the second period. You never spot that one on for Valeno, and that is where you just really need to get a cut. Watch what happens. This is where it really races in. And with goal, he just spins around. That's nothing that you really need to do for him. You just have to watch your timing down. When Valeno has this shot on the goal, you really have to race out of it. That forward drive is definitely going to have it turn it over and right to Ingram. We're nearing down the end of the second period. As with Polino, he has his first goal. We're nearing down to a final minute in the second period. Not sure how he was able to handle it, but that really was a tough shot. Yeah, you've never been seeing this, but that really is. Polino really had it all. And now what they need to do is they got to get a regrouping afterward. Now they have to really have to start getting it out. Otherwise, they're going to get moving out of the way. Oh, here comes Draisaitl. Another save by Multiple. 20 seconds. Draisaitl. Huge save over the net and over the glass. 9 seconds remaining in the second. Here comes Evans. Evans back to Perrier. Sends it deep. And that is a big stop by Ingram to end the second. Therefore, it is a 2-1 game for the Canadiens. The Habs are in front. But the question is, can the Oilers take it back and tie it up? We'll be right back with the third period. 2-1 game. And Century Bell. Be back after this message.
Hey folks, welcome to the second intermission of the NHL Game of the Night. As we finish off with 2 periods, it has been turned to be the lead between the Montreal Habs and the Edmonton Oilers. Here are the standings after the second period is finished. 28/23 total shots on goal for Montreal, 820/18 hits for Montreal Canadiens, 1144/230, and was 89/82 for the Edmonton Oilers with 11 face-off wins. Only 2-minute penalty kill was on Edmonton Oilers, and no power play goals made for the Habs right in between the range. But now this time, as 2 periods is down, let's have your status here for you, BPhone 11, about the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers have really been sparking that one on. They really are trying to do a lot of pure attacking motions. While the attack motion happens to be Connor McDavid, they really are expecting to have it play off the ball on their own opinions. They didn't stop doing this right anyway, but they still got to find it out if they can definitely try to win it off or take over the lead if it's possible to go into overtime. You may never know how this one is going to happen. Now over to you, Son of Beast, about the Montreal Canadiens. Canadiens have that one with the first in this range, and after that tie game, it was now have been determined to be a lead, and they really have been snuck up in front. That's what they are really expecting to do for now, right in the range zones. I know what the Habs are going to do for. They really are just going to have to keep on trying to get that one activated right across to have that with the first and another goal. Now they did, because the power play didn't really think it was going to work, but now they've already tied it, but it's a good thing now that they got the leadoffs for the second period. We'll see what happens when the third period comes in for Wishin. As the second period comes for the intermission to the end, we now send you back to Montreal at the Century Bell. Zoe Troop, John, and the other crew members with Yud and Jackie return as the third period comes closer to a start. We'll see you all here, everybody, after the game, after this one, for the third period. Let's see how this goes. See you later.
It comes down to this in the third period at Century Bell, Montreal. It's the finishing part of the game as we are here back with us. And if you missed the second period, the Habs take a lead at 2-1 score. Let's have your takes here, John. How that third second period has come back into action. How did you see out there with that first goal taken?
Well, I'm going to say now, this is where the first goal has been making it for a section. They really have been keeping it out, and now this is the first part of the goal that they really have been under pressure. The better taken wasn't really easy enough. But more importantly though, they finally have that answer in front, but it wasn't easy enough that they were really keeping it out of the position. They're pretty sure that they're really working it off for the Habs, and now, as the team McDavid, they got to find something else, or what's going to happen if they can try to hold things out. Here's Alexandre Texier, and he has that one fired around the net. And here's again to Caulfield. Caulfield hasn't found anything to score yet, and he now has it over to Texier. Caulfield outside, off to Hudson. Hudson lost that one. It's now rebounded by Kapanen. Kapanen pass line over to Gata Thompson.
Thompson again to Kapanen. Looks off Hudson. Shot. Another big save by Picker. Ingram is making another huge save to start off in the third period. Now here's Kapanen. Looks to Caulfield. Spin the cross. Back behind it is Hudson. Now here's Texier. With the shot. It's blocked up by the defender. And now it skates it out. And here's Nugent Hopkins. New lines will change for the Oilers. And for the Canadiens, that's Hudson. Will bank that pass around the net. Matthias Ekholm has it rebound in. And now as the Oilers will have different numbers fighting Brozovic. Adam Henry in the middle is stopped by Montalban. 6:07 remaining in the third period as they're ready to have another puck drop. But the big save happens to be Samuel Montalban. That is one impressive save that he's been really keeping it forward. That's why I was really watching things on. And Sam Montalban, he really had been keeping his save longer and longer. Again and again as they really kept it on coming forward and backward. I love seeing how Samuel Montalban has been making it a huge save. But that's where I was really watching things. So that's the biggest on a quick designer, and it's definitely like this, how they were really keeping it for quick pick saves and a huge special team help. And he scores! Leon Draisaitl with 2 goals, and he picks up his quick release. They go back down to hit the tie. And watch what happened with this. Leon Draisaitl had done it again, just like in the first period. And this is the first part of the goal. Nobody can see it. Leon Draisaitl has kicked it, and he just had that one goal. What a big range afterwards. And then this is where that rebound. He makes another quick release for Leon Draisaitl. He's looking to race his third goal. And it looks like that might be what the problem could have happened. Evan Bouchard with the assist. As now the Habs and the Oilers have now tied it again. As the win will be Roslovic. It's taken over by Kapanen. Kapanen breaks him down right near the blue line. Hudson now has it again to William Carrier. Again to Kapanen. Kapanen watches closely. Now has it again to Carrier. Hudson shots blocked. Rebound by Kapanen. Kapanen the other way here, dishing around the net. And rebound by Dimonov. Rebound by Draisaitl. Here comes Sikorsky. He'll get it over for the Habs rebound. Carrier's got a puck, and now he has it over to Dimonov. Dimonov finding to Kapanen. Kapanen resets the group, now finds out the goal. And off back to Kapanen. Kapanen looks over to Dimonov. Looks off the goal. Goal sets it over to Dimonov. And that one gives back over to Adam Henry. Shoots it deep and right around the net. Dimonov will have his own regrouping change. New line change. Dimonov in trouble and he goes down. No penalty on the Edmonton Oilers. Hyman's shot is tipped off on a stick and rebounded by Henry. It's back to goal. He now looks to Evans as he's back on ice. In middle to Bolduc. A transfer from the St. Louis Blues, and he'll have that past the goal. Here's Jackai's shot. He is off his teammate, and it's now back again to Jackai. Bolduc right over in the wing, again to exit Jackai. Here's goal. Behind the net, Davidoff. Give him go to Bolduc. Bolduc. Behind the back. It's stopped by Ingram. 12:27 remaining in the third period as the Habs and the Oilers are tied. Still a lot of time left in the period. Still looking for a goal to have that lead. Evans wins the faceoff. Habs with the puck. Mileno again to goal. Goal now finding the Jack guy. He keeps it alive. Now back to Mileno. Mileno to goal. Trying to get right square by, and it's Ingram with the stop. Just under 12 minutes remaining in the third period as they're able to get their next puck drop ready. Habs and the Oilers are really the tightest team by Philip Deneau and Curtis Lazar. But most likely, Curtis Lazar was transferred over from the New Jersey Devils to the Edmonton Oilers. And Philip Deneau, the other way, transferred from the Los Angeles Kings to the Montreal Canadiens. The one big take as we were watching things on is a huge impact to have the goal. But most likely, Phil Deneau is one of the big favorites as he's back in the East Coast. Well, it happens with this, and when you know for Philip Ganault, he was one of our biggest stars. Most likely, I was really watching it for Philip Ganault after the Kings have made a transfer, and now when I ever ask you to say about how Philip Ganault played good was, that's when I was really watching things from Philip Ganault and from the other team as for a new replacement for Artemi Panarin, and the other side of it as a new player comes in from the New York Rangers. They might have to change things up. I mean, that's the biggest frustration everybody's been talking through. And most likely, everybody's been watching it, doing it carefully at the same time. Now I notice that Navgalier and their teammate as Philip Ganault will have to see how he will able to keep things out just the right time. What a big relentless hit. My goodness, that is going to hurt. Back to Suzuki. Suzuki again to Hudson. Here's another take. And tries to give to Caulfield, but it's McDavid with the puck again for the Oilers. Fast skater wheel shot, big save by Multiple. Thompson went down. Here's a take, McDavid shot. Chance could not get a goal. And it goes right over now to Multiple. He'll stop it here. 8:42 remaining in the third period as the both teams are neck to neck in the battle. Suzuki and McDavid with another face-off chance. McDavid wins the faceoff. Here's a shot. It's off his teammate. And Hudson again to Caulfield. Here's Caulfield. One-time texture shot. Never stopped by Ingram. And past the midway mark in the third period as McDavid tries to make a next move. Hudson blocks that shot. McDavid pass. It's broken by Caulfield. Texier rolls ahead. Here he comes Caulfield. Right toward the middle, and that quick pick gets away. Check on. No offside on the Montreal Hawks. Texier watches across the jack line. And now it's back to Regula. Regula again to Zach Hyman. Oilers make their new transition. Watching toward middle, behind the back of the cage. Hyman, right toward middle, big block on a shot, and it's stopped made again by Multiple. Here's Draisaitl, shots blocked for three. Hold up, goes right over to Hudson. And now the Hawks will clear that zone out. He'll have it dipped, and that one goes right into the bleachers out of play. My goodness, when you don't see it having anything with Leon Draisaitl, check out what happened in this last play. You see how Leon Draisaitl, that is where the hurt comes out, and then you made a little bit of attack aggressiveness. That really is going to make that one the hardest maintaining pressure on the board. If Dallas is keeping it range, and he's not really looking toward it to hit that off target. No screen would ever do for it if they just really kept on playing and safe. That's where it makes another get for the Montreal Hawks. Now as Draisaitl wins the faceoff, he rolls all the way down to the net. It's a goal. There's another chance here for now for Bulldog. Here's Bouchard after the taken away from Montreal. Evans got it back to Pakolzin. Here comes Pakolzin on a chance, he scores! What a chance inbound as Vance Pakolzin has now picked up the lead. It is now a 1-point possession for the Edmonton Oilers. Well, what happened was that you don't really see what gets it over to McDavid. And here's what Pakolzin made. Back cuts it and it goes right past the Sam Montembeault. Check out what happened to this last play. That one is really right into the range. He had a backhander, he just pulls it up and tries to have a chance. And Pakolzin really noticing that I'm going to take this effort, and I'm thinking I'm not going to give a pass, I'm just going to go for it. Man, how would you ever expect it now if that really makes it a harder change for Pakolzin? You never know how that really would change. Evan Bouchard. Right to the pass, Kapanen's shot's blocked by goal. Nemetov again at Xhekaj. Xhekaj pass to Slavkovsky. Slavkovsky gets around the angle. And here's a chance. Kapanen inside his own. Shot saved by Ingram. 5:13 remaining in the third period as you're nearing down the end of a regulation period. Just look what happened with this Pakolzin. And this is where that makes it an easy zone. That happens to be a passing and a big effort. A lot of chances could happen with Pakolzin with a shot. And then right to her in range, that's where that comes in for Montembeault to have a huge save. But one thing happens with Pakolzin, it's just a cut. Battling makes it in the third period, and he had a lot of chances. So Bakolzin is right behind Adam Henrique. He has 9 in the season, and he's trying to see if he can definitely take 2 of them to end it in Montreal. Kapanen wins the faceoff. Dobson has to Kapanen. Takes a hit and rebounded by Davidoff. Right from the bank pass is now Matheson. Matheson, and now he gives to Davidoff as he already passed the 5-minute mark as everybody discovered. Kapanen shots blocked by Bouchard. Around the net. Huge save by Ingram. Bakolzin again to Bouchard. Bouchard pass is broken. Here's Draisaitl. Stick licked it. Over again. Kapanen shot. Never saved by Montalvo. 4:04 remaining in the third period. He's trying to get it worked up again, and he doesn't want that to make them mistaken. As Nick Suzuki wins the face-off, here's William Carrier. Off to Hudson. Hobbs back in offense. Looks off to Caulfield. He wants to get it right to a Texier, but it gives out the defender's stick, and now Carrier. Here's Hudson's shot. Big reach out on the pad, saved by Ingram. Oh my goodness for Suzuki. And there will be a delayed penalty. That's going to be Suzuki on the cross-checking. This is not a great effort.
Number 14, 2 minutes for cross-checking.
Pass up on, and watch what happened. That's where it hits on Mateus Ekholm, and then that's where you don't really like. This is not a great call for Nick Suzuki as the captain's in the penalty box. Montalvo's team's in penalty box as the power play is ready for the Edmonton Oilers. This will be chance for 2 if they take the win. No need to explain it for yourself, but that's what you need to be watching on. You gotta make sure you're really up to the task. The target is simple, and don't lose your effort. Travis Suzuki, he makes that aggressively, and he had badly mistaken it. That's not what you wanted to do. That one blocks it up, and puck rolls all the way down into the Oilers territory. It's not a new line change for Edmonton. Adam Henrique, and back over to Roslovic. Roslovic pass, here's the voice shot, and never saved by Montalvo. Carrier. In transition, now finding Denault. Looks to the middle to Collier. Chance for the short-handed goal has been kept out. Here's Carrier. Winston's on a shot, glove saved by Ingram. 2:08 remaining in the third period. Edmonton Oilers trying to watch it carefully. And now they're ready to get their next puck drop ready. Still 3-2 score for Edmonton. Nugent Hopkins wins the faceoff, 50 seconds for the Oilers power play. Here's Leon Draisaitl. Go for 3. That one is kicked off on the blocker, and Draisaitl with the rebound. Back to McDavid. That shot's blocked. And now here's Evans. Chance for Texier. He's going to try it to give over it. And it doesn't get right by it. As Evan Bouchard must now carry it out. Suzuki's time's almost up. Here's Skoll. And that ends the power play for the Edmonton Oilers. Back to full strength. And down to a final minute in the third period. Dobson's shot. It's blocked. Here's Bouchard. Right to Hyman. He goes down. On his way down. Hyman. Goes right to McDavid's shot. It'll never be Pat. Stop Mayor Montalvo. And here comes Dobson. They're going to bring the extra attackers on. Dobson. No time to stop. And he goes offside. That stops him playing with only 37 seconds in the third period. Looks like they wanted to see how he could effortlessly handle it off, and they don't want that to be out of the way. With the win, here's Carrier. Extra attacker. Needs some help here on offense. Kapanen. Backhand. Save play. He missed it wide for Carrier. Davidoff shots blocked. Rebound by Sikorsky. Looks to Carrier. Moves in. He stops it. Tries to go back the other way, and now Nurse will have it out. Last chance. And it's Nurse. Kapanen blocked it by Montalvo. Time is out, and that is going to end it off here. Edmonton Oilers survives in the Rose, and that is it. What a disappointing effort. And as an Ingram, he will make his way down the road. Well, you don't see how that really changed it. That really was going to lay him out right behind. Edmonton Oilers were sure to have the comeback victory in. Well, as for being said now, what an amazing night this is. And as for you and Jackie, who had the best play? Of course, I know that it's happened to me, and I know I'm with David, Leon Draisaitl. He had a one particular game. And now as for the night, we're out of here. All right, thanks, you and Jackie. Good night, folks. And as for you and Jackie, along with John, I'm Zo True. Thank you for watching the Canadiens Hockey. All right, folks, thank you so much. And without time for three-star players, Connor Ingram with 45 saves in the game. He only has that hugest opportunity as Ingram has made that stop. The second-star player goes to Vasily Podkolzin with only 1 goal, 1 assist, and 7 hits. It doesn't matter when you do this effort. That is where the cut, you see, has brought it in. And your first-star player of the game goes to Leon Draisaitl. 2 goals and 6 hits. And here it is full statistics the other way. 37 over 45 total shots on goal for Montreal. 32 over 29 for Edmonton. 1655 over 420 for Montreal time on attack. 89 over 82 a passing effectiveness for Edmonton. And it was 18 over 16 for the Edmonton Oilers. And then 2-minute penalty kills was on both teams with no power play goals. Well, it didn't sail along, but we will have to see what Canadiens hope for the next part of the game if they face against another team. And that's going to end it up here, folks. I hope you all enjoyed it, and this one was a big shock and awe moment for the Oilers, as they finally had won for the game of the night for this season, and not last season against the Kings. With that being said, be sure to stick around next time, as we'll have the Florida Panthers. They will be able to face against the next team, against the Dallas Stars. That will be the next one. Coverage starts at 7:30. In the meantime, though, that is about to wrap things up. Thanks for watching. And along with me from 11, and with my broadcasting crew, I'm Son of Peace. We'll see you next time for as a while as the NHL 26 of the Gameplay Dial. Thanks for watching, and thank you for joining with us. Good night, everyone.
If you don't, somebody will.
Gonna make it up.